Welcome, Traveler. You just reached level 60 and now would like to go from Torment 1, 2, 3 to Torment 4, but how do you progress? The first thing you need to do is jump into Torment 1. And no matter your build, that should be possible. If you do struggle, go into your Codex of Power and get the Juggernaut aspect, which would boost your armor tremendously that you reach the 1000 armor cap for the maximum damage reduction. Alternative, if you don't have Juggernaut yet, you could get Disobedience. Also, put sockets into your current rings, and then craft yourself the level of diamonds that you can have. Probably flawless diamonds. So you get your resistance up to 75, 75, 75. I'm in Torment 4. I don't even need 75 right now, but that's because Blood Wave is actually broken. Now, why do we desperately want to jump into Torment 1? That's because from Torment 1 on, ancestral quality items become available, which means that you can run to the Purveyor of Curiosities, and you should, through leveling up, have 1,000, 1,200 Obols. And then you gamble yourself first a weapon, because you have a very high chance to actually pull out an 800 item power weapon. I, for example, still need a good sword, so I'll just gamble swords, and boom, there is one. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1,100 Obols needed to actually get a greater affix sword. And that will just do so much more damage than anything else you have at the very moment. This is in fact still the scythe I have since the very beginning. Now with this weapon power boost, we'll hit a few golds before jumping into Torment 2. Obviously, you could just go into the pit and if you feel strong enough, raise right away to Torment 2. You anyways have to do pit 15, 20, and then 25 for that. Doing pit 15 will net you 4 Paragon points. Doing pit 20 will also net you 4 Paragon points. Because in the beginning, the pit is giving you so much XP that you fast track your Paragon's points forward to actually hit your first legendary node. For example, for my minion Negro, I like to do pit 15 and 20 after pit 10 because then I have enough Paragon points to get myself a legendary node that will boost my damage into oblivion. The other activities you're looking for is Whispers to gain more favor that we can actually get the Tree of Whisper caches because they'll now have ancestral gear in there as well. Keep in mind that for the lair bosses, you don't have to have the materials. You can just summon them, kill them. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, so what? And you get the Whisper for actually killing them, not for looting them. Also, as you do more pits and the higher pit you get, the more Obols you'll get as well. And then obviously return to the Purveyor of Curiosity to then gamble for the next pieces you want. Pants only cost 25, boots only cost 25, tunic only costs 25. The cheapest there. Another 10 of those is only 250 Obols. And you might already have your next greater affixed item. But wait, there's more to easily get yourself greater affixed stuff. Teleport to the den. And here it would be very good if you did actually level up more than just 1 or 2 mercenaries. Because leveling up the mercenaries adds new stuff to the bartering. So you get here, for example, the masterworking materials and Obols cache. And if you do Subo, you get the boss summoning material cache. You do Alkin and so on. And as you actually go through their level up, you get quite some pale marks already. You should arrive with like 500, 600, 700 pale marks at this point. And yes, these here, restock supply for free, thank you, can also have greater affixed items as they can have salvage materials. 750 gear you don't have yet, or even an aspect that you're missing. And you can just restock. Greater affixed item, thank you. This will be better than anything you have at this point because your item is going to be 700, 750, 720 item power. This has more max life, chances for amazing affixes, or just a boss summoning mat cache to actually loot these bosses. Action! Now, in order to progress through the Torment tiers, you need to look out for the ever-increasing, your armor is reduced by 750, resistance by 75, by 1,000, and 100%. That you keep up with the requirements of the tier. You truly want to have that 1,000 armor, or you're going to take exponentially more damage. It's quite easy, though, to have the 1,000 armor, as you can always run around with the Juggernaut aspect, and then just temper total armor percentage on your chest and helmet. Boom. Usually that brings you up to the 1,000 armor quite nicely. If you then have an item piece with an actual armor roll on it as well, you get the armor up to 1,000. So that should be an easy ballpark to hit. Now, for resistances, it can be a little bit more tricky. You obviously want to have the biggest diamonds that you can get. Don't run around with flawless diamonds. Get the next tier if possible. And in the beginning, really choose any resistance to all elements node you can find. In my case, I choose the Bloodbath board early because I knew there is this resistance to all elements with the damage reduction and also resistance to all elements there to then easily just hit my resistance goals. And if you feel like you can't jump a Torment tier further yet, you feel like you're not strong enough for Torment 3. It might be that you're not strong enough. And that's a simple reason. You just haven't gotten enough Paragon points. Because Paragon points is what gives you the real power. For my overpowered Bloodwave, for example, I need to hit Blood Begets. That's a 50% damage multiplier to all my damage. And then Bloodbath for another 100% damage multiplier. And if I manage to get the Essence Glyph, that's another 22% more critical strike damage. Good. That's almost 200% more damage. And the minimal amount of points I need to hit that, if I actually take care of the resistance to all elements, and if I want to activate my Eliminator Glyph. Okay, so Eliminator is activated. Thank you. I guess I gotta take this point. Will I get it there? Then we can go into the Blood Begets board. Swibbity swabbity, because we want to go in from the bottom to make things a little bit easier. Okay, we've already spent 44 points. Don't forget that you actually start with 25 points in the very beginning. So I only needed plus 25 points so far. And then we're in the Bloodbath board. Every single point just went, take the resistance towards the 2 nodes. So that's 72 points that I would at least need to get these 2 hit up. You already have a nice damage boost. As the minion necro, I do actually even need less because I want to get the cult leader and then the hulking monstrosity. Don't be shy to use resistance tempers in the beginnings as well. If you lack a certain resistance and you just take too much fire damage, put in your chest piece, pants, helmet, anything that can have a defensive temper, and then just go for natural resistance. It's better than taking that multiplicative more elemental damage. Torment 2 shouldn't be an obstacle for you with all these tips. But what about Torment 3 now? How much damage do you actually need for Torment 3 and for Torment 4? Let's jump into a Torment 3 boss for this. The very good thing with the new boss changes is you can now summon any boss at any given time, as we mentioned before. You don't have to use materials to get them out. So if you want to know, can I beat a Torment 1 boss, Torment 2, Torment 3, and so on? Well, you'll easily figure this out by just going there and trying. Still, what about enough damage would we actually need now? We're playing a Bloodwave build, we have tons of overpower, we obviously have 15,000 life, there's a lot of damage going on. But you can kind of gauge how much HP this guy has. Because we're hitting him here for a couple of billion. That's like 2-3 billion. There's like 100 million, 100 million, 100. There's a lot of damage coming together. Yeah. And if you're only doing 1 million damage per hit, you're not ready to face Torment 2 bosses. That doesn't mean you're not ready for Torment 2, because the bosses themselves have always way more HP than the actual tier. So you might be able to hang out in Torment 3 and have a good time doing Hell Tides and whatsoever. Maybe not necessarily doing the Hell Maiden, but still you could be in Torment 3 already, as you can be in Torment 4. I, for example, still, even with all this damage, don't like fighting Torment 4 bosses. And the main reason is that they just have multi-billions. They have like 20, 30 billion HP. And the tier 3 boss, I just delete with a press of one button. That being said, the rest of Torment 4, including the Infernal Hordes, I can just easily do, right? Only that the tormented bosses in Torment 4 are just way more sturdy nowadays. What I'm trying to say is, you can do the pit already. Infernal Hordes, get your Whispers, Hell Tides, all that stuff. You might just simply not be able to speed farm these big bosses yet, but the loot difference is also not that significant. They're not dropping more legendary runes or anything like that. They drop just 1 or 2 more unique items. And that's about it. This is a Tormented Xur. Let's kick him out, and then let's talk about another layer of loot that I haven't mentioned yet. Good. We're hitting him, and you can see like there's 700 million, 700 million, so that was already a billion damage hit, and yet he's still being cratched. There was another, like, this was alone 5 billion damage, roughly, that Bloodwave coming together, because you see the billion damage hit with everything else. So 30 billion might have actually been a bit in the lower ballpark. So we did like, I guess like 20, 30 billion already damage-wise to him. And yet he's not dead. And yes, he also does one-hit me, despite having like the 15,000 life and the armor and the resistances. Okay, I don't have the poison resistance, so I actually get soaked by his pool, but you get the drift. You can die very easy. Now, what's that other layer of loot I forget to mention? And that is in the Curist Bazaar, the Undercity. And there's a very peculiar, interesting thing about the Undercity that you might not be aware of. And that is your Torment tier doesn't matter. What am I saying here? In the Undercity, if you go in Torment 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's obviously different difficult. The main reason to go into the Undercity is you want to use your tributes. For example, the Tribute of Harmony for more runes, the Tribute of Titans for more lair boss keys, or even the Tribute of Refinement for masterworking materials. Ultimately, the coolest thing you can get is the Tribute for Ancestral Gear. Yep, there is one for that. And the Tribute for Uniques. These tributes you're getting either from the Tree of Whisper or from killing the Hell Maiden and the lair bosses. Now, if I put in the Tribute of Harmony, I will, for example, get 5 runes. But these 5 runes I get in Torment 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't change. The Torment tier doesn't give me more. The same goes for the Refinement Masterworking. I'll get 2,000 Obols. But I won't suddenly get 4,000 Obols for doing in Torment 4. The rewards are always the same. You can boost this by bargaining to, for example, get chaotic uniques or more jewelry or whatever, right? You can boost your legendaries. And alone for this, it's possible because legendary equipment will possess an offensive aspect when possible, or it says you are randomly rewarded 1 to 3 additional pieces of equipment. These 1 to 3 pieces of additional equipment, that doesn't cost you anything. They could also be ancestrals. That's why putting any kind of tribute in, even if it's a tribute of grows for experience or anything, as soon as you're Torment 1, can be an absolute worthwhile activity to just squeeze out bonus pieces of loot. Now, an interesting heads up. Do you even need Torment 4? Does it do anything for you that is, well, crazy? The big advantage of getting Torment 4 currently is getting to Pit 65. Pit 65 is this magical pit tier where you always get +2 glyph upgrades on your way to upgrading your glyphs to level 45. If your glyphs hit level 45, they can be upgraded to legendary glyphs to get the lore bonus. Now, that being said, Pit 65 is more than enough for this. Unless you're actually planning to push your glyphs to 100 and go on the tedious road to Pit 100, which I'm personally, as the content creator, not doing this season. I'm probably stopping at Pit 75. Because after Pit 75, it already gets tedious. But it also gets impossible for most fun builds. So if I want to, for example, play Blood Surge, I think Blood Surge with okay-ish gear, not fully mythic gear, probably doing tier 60. And if I want to go deeper than tier 60 with Blood Surge, well, I'll really have to bring back for that, right? I'll have to bend over sideways and ask for favors. So I'm not even going to bother to push like super low. 65 is again optimally that you always get +2, +2, +2, +2, +2, and not this +1. I've been mostly speed farming my bosses in Torment 3. That's also where I've dropped 2 mythics already. Do you have to go Torment 4 for more mythics? Nah, you don't. Do you have to go Torment 4 to maybe have the bosses drop legendary runes? No, you don't. Torment 3 get kind of like all your needs. I mean, this is sadly the season where they made Torment 4 undesirable. As there's fun builds that will just struggle with Torment 4 because they are fun builds and they might just not be as efficient as the, well, OP builds. One thing I haven't mentioned, and that is masterworking. Now, I am sitting in Torment 4 and my gear is, in fact, this is 8 times masterwork, this is 8 times masterwork, and this is like 8 times, 4 times, 8 times. My rings aren't even masterwork, my chest is not, my pants are not, and that would obviously give me more damage. At some point, you might hit this wall where you can't progress unless you do actually masterwork a bit more. I mean, your weapon obviously wants to get masterwork because it says Blood Wave deals double damage. So with this masterwork and my pants masterwork, I have 100% to deal double damage. These are the obvious masterworks to do. The same goes for my Blood Spear build. Has also some obvious masterworks. The weapon says Bone Spear projectiles cast twice, and the helmet says Bone Spear projectiles cast twice. While the pants give you more maximum life and Tides of Blood, this gives you more bone skill ranks. So these are like some of the obvious masterworks to easily push your damage. And this is where the Torment tiers are coming in again. Yes, in Torment 1 and 2 and 3, you get less Masterwork materials than Torment 4. But if you actually manage to get to Torment 4, and again, you might not be able to right away kill the bosses, the lair bosses, but what you should be able to do is, you should be able to farm Nightmare Dungeons. So if you scrape yourself into Torment 4, even if you're not necessarily able to beat the Nightmare Dungeon boss, alone the Masterwork material that's dropping in there gives you another power boost to go further. Now, you will definitely drop more of that in Torment 4 than you will anytime in Torment 3, 2, and 1. The same goes for the Infernal Hordes, also gives you way more Masterwork material. I did 2 Infernal Hordes this morning, and I just jumped from like 2,000 to 7,000 Opticide. If you're not going to do the higher tiers, you're also not going to have the materials to really upgrade your gear further. I mean, I need 450 here to get this to 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. That being said, you also don't need it at 12 to even reach Torment 3. I mean, I was Torment 3 without a single Masterwork. That speaks for Bloodwave being, again, the super S tier build. Still, though, you don't even need the 12 times Masterwork to have a good time. As for you to choose how far you would like to go. Back to your Paragon tree. I said get your legendary nodes activated first, and don't really look at the runes. The only thing you do rune-wise is get them at 25 out of 25 decks. So don't even try to get the most decks, right? I usually don't need these two. I just had to go through here to get the rune basically activated, then you get the first damage bonus. Optimally, with your first 100 Paragon points, I have 72 spent. You would try to get as many legendary nodes as possible while still trying to activate 1 or 2 runes. So I have my Eliminator already activated down here. Good, I get the damage bonus. I have the Glyph for the Dexterity. Good, activated as well. Got to level up to 15 to get the Enhanced Radius, because without level 15 and the Enhanced Radius, it's going to feel awful. And then I can already move with the last points either into my Flash Eater or into the Frailty board. And this one I could, with a minimal amount of effort, get activated. So that's 107 points for 3 legendary nodes and 2 glyphs. It's pretty good. It's a lot of damage. But you go on like this. So what would I do next right now? Well, I would probably try to activate my Dominate glyph, but with the minimal effort possible, right? So not like with maximum amount of just get it activated, right? With the radius you do have. And if you then have 161 Paragon points and total 185 because of the 25 bonus you get, you can press the Refund All button to go for a more optimal pathing. Then maybe flip a board around and not just try. For example, this I had upside down at first to get to the Frailty for that 40% damage multiplier and then hit the Dominate. But the pathing is better this way around, as I do get here the overpower damage node and I don't need these points in the beginning. Then you reset and go for slight more optimal passing to just save yourself some points and get the most out of your boards. And finally, the most important thing, your attack power does not tell you how much damage you're dealing, because I have 4,000 attack power and I do billions of damage. Ta-da. It is an absolutely useless stat that kind of takes your attack speed, weapon damage, everything into the equation, but as you can see, I don't actually do much damage apart from overpower, and the overpower doesn't really go into this equation, so yay. If there's anything left you'd like to ask, comments below. I'll try to answer as much as I can. There is the Bloody Bone Spear guide, the Bloodwave guide. Enjoy. Have a fantastic good day.